Okay, good morning, all of you. Let's get started. Let me share the screen. Last class, we looked at application of this beam element, for which we derived equation system for a two-node beam element. We derived this equation system and we try to apply it to solve this problem. And taking advantage of symmetry, or if you want, you can solve the full problem. And if you see the solution that you got here, whatever bending moment, shear force solution or displacement solution, here this plots. And if you try to find how it matches with exact solution, if you try to find how it matches with the exact solution, you are going to get exact this approximate solution from two-node beam element is going to give you exact solution. Okay, but there is a problem when you apply this element for distributed load problems. Yesterday I was mentioning about that. So now let's look at it. What is the issue with this element when you apply for a distributed load problem? To illustrate that one, let's take a simply supported beam subjected to uniformly distributed load Q, which is acting in the upward direction. EI is constant. Flexural rigidity is constant for this beam. Length of the beam is L. Please take a note. Please take a note of this problem. So we are trying to solve this problem and see whether it's how accurate solution is going to be. For this problem, simply supported beam subjected to uniformly distributed load with constant flexural rigidity of span L. You know from your structural analysis, displacement, what is the transverse displacement at here half. This problem is symmetric. So the solution is given at left end and mid span. Solution at the right end is going to be same as whatever is there at the left end. So what is the displacement, transverse displacement, what is the rotation, what is bending moment, what is shear force at left end and mid span, they are noted here. Please take a note of this. These are all straightforward from your structural analysis. So the idea of solving this is this problem is using two-node beam element that we developed, and when we try to solve this uniformly distributed load problem, whether we are going to get these solutions which we already know. These are the exact solutions for this problem. So please take a note of this, the displacement, rotation, bending moment, shear force. And also let's discretize this beam. Let's solve this beam problem using two elements. Okay, and we'll see how the solution with two elements is going to match with exact solution. That is what this exercise is. So this entire beam of length L is divided into two elements of equal length, L divided by 2, L divided by 2. And each element has two nodes. Okay, total 3 nodes and 2 elements. So this is the discretization, and this is the sign convention. This is sign convention for applied loads and moments as well as degrees of freedom. These are the sign conventions. So this is the sign convention is positive if it is anti-clockwise for rotations, positive if it is acting in the upward direction for transverse displacement. So please take a note of this discretization. Whatever is there on this slide, please take a note of it. Okay, please take a note of these values, these quantities here, because we are going to compare. At that time it's very difficult or inconvenient to back and forth move between the slides. Okay, so please take a note of this. So now we divided this beam element into two, this total length of beam into two elements of length L divided by equal length elements. So for each of the elements, you write the element equations. So how do we get element equations? You take this whatever element equations that we developed, you take this one. In this, wherever L is there, you replace with L divided by 2. Wherever L is there, you replace with L divided by 2. And here also, here for this the particular problem that we are looking at, distributed load is also there of constant value. So this vector is going to be there, this vector is not going to be there, because there are no point loads and concentrated moments. So wherever L is there, replace with L divided by 2. That is how you are going to get element equations for each of these two elements. So element equations for each of the two elements you can obtain in that manner. For element 1, degrees of freedom are V1 theta 1, V2 theta 2. For element 2, degrees of freedom are V2 theta 2, V3 theta 3. Okay. So with that, you write the element equations for element 1. And here element equations for element 2 are not written, because they are going to be exactly same, because both the elements are of same length, L divided by 2, except the degrees of freedom are going to be different. And then once you get element equations, here this wherever L is there, replacing that L with L divided by 2, whatever I just mentioned, that is what is done in the first equation. Simplified, you get the second one. And for second element also, the equation system looks like this. So with this understanding, you can assemble the global equation system. You please take a note of it. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know at this stage. And what are the degrees of freedom which are, what are the degrees of freedom which are 0? V1 is going to be 0, V3 is going to be 0. Non-zero degrees of freedom are going to be theta 1, V2, theta 2, theta 3. Actually, because of symmetry, theta 2 is going to be 0. Theta 2 is going to be 0. That is, once you solve, you should check whether theta 2 is going to be 0 or not, because it's a symmetric point. Okay. So let's solve for theta 1, V2, theta 2, theta 3. Applying V1 is equal to 0, V3 is equal to 0 in the global equation system. So if you do that, you get 4 by 4 equation system. You solve for it, you solve this equation system, you get these quantities. Now you see how the solution that you obtained using two node element, two number of two node elements, how that solution is matching with exact solution. Please take a note of this. So now you got the nodal values. So now you can go to each of the element 1, element 2, using the nodal values corresponding to that element. You can do interpolation and try to find displacement at any point in that element, rotation at any point in that element, bending moment and shear force, once you know the nodal values. So please take a note of these nodal values. So once you have these nodal values, you go to each element, element 1. Here, only bending moment and shear force are shown. If you want, you can do interpolation for displacement and rotation as well. So bending moment, using those nodal values and second derivative of shape functions, bending moment at any point in element 1 can be obtained using this, varying s from 0 to 1. Similarly, shear force can be obtained using this relation. Okay? And you can see here bending moment, how it is varying. How it is varying with respect to s. It is varying linearly with respect to s. But for uniformly distributed load, we know that bending moment is going to be quadratic in variation. So that is the issue here. Okay. Anyway, you take a note of this bending moment at any point in element 1, shear force at any point in element 1. Shear force at any point is constant, minus QL divided by 4. Now, at the beginning of this, in today's class, before we started solving this problem, we noted what are the exact solutions. Exact solution at left hand, exact solution at mid-span. We have taken two elements. Element 1, first node corresponds to the left hand, second node corresponds to the mid-span. So now, this is the bending moment relation. In this, if you substitute S is equal to 0, that gives you left hand solution of bending moment at the left support, and solution of bending moment at the midpoint can be obtained taking S is equal to 1. So substitute S is equal to 0, S is equal to 1. At S is equal to 0, bending moment is given by this, and shear force is constant everywhere from whatever we got from finite element solution. So shear force at left hand is also is going to be minus QL divided by 4. So from these equations, you can read here, from these equations, the end shear at S is equal to 0 and moment at mid-span at S is equal to 1 are given by this. But are these values correct? For a simply supported beam, what is going to be shear force at the supports? You know it, it's going to be minus QL divided by 2. And mid-span, what is going to be bending moment? It's minus here. Why minus sign is there? Why minus sign is there? In this particular problem, Q is acting in the upward direction. That's why minus sign is coming here. Maximum bending moment is given by minus QL square divided by 8. We know this. These are exact values from our structural analysis. Whereas this finite element, two node finite element, when we adopted two elements, this is what we got. So we are actually missing a lot. The accuracy is very poor. Accuracy of this element, when we adopted two elements, it's very poor. Okay, we are supposed to get minus QL divided by 8, whereas whatever solution we are getting from finite elements adopting two node elements is minus 7 QL square divided by 48. Similarly, for shear force. Okay, so this is the issue here. This is the issue here. So how do you improve this? One way of improving is, instead of using two elements, let's increase the number of elements. Let's say 4 elements or 8 elements or 16 elements. It's not necessary it should be multiple of 2. Okay, I'm just saying 2 elements and then 4 elements, because I want to make sure there are the equal number of elements on either side of the midpoint. It's not necessary. Okay, you can even try 3 elements. Element 1 going from 0, or element 1, all the elements, when you adopt 3 elements, let all the elements be of equal length, L divided by 3. And element 1 goes from 0 to L divided by 3. Element 2 goes from L divided by 3 to 2L divided by 3. Element 3 goes from 2L divided by 3 to L. Okay, so you can increase the number of elements and then see how the solution matches. When you increase the number of elements, what is the price you are paying? What is the additional cost you are paying? You need to solve bigger equation system. Okay, and maybe the solution that you get, actually the accuracy may increase if you use more number of elements. So that is one way of doing, one way of achieving the exact or a solution which matches with exact solution very well. But that is not smart way of doing. Okay, you keep on increasing the number of elements, and then your computational cost is going to increase. And there is a way to do it. There is a way to do it, and that is a simple technique. What that technique is, whatever bending moment relation here, this is obtained. The first equation is obtained by taking the nodal values and interpolating the nodal values. So this is the finite element solution. This is the finite element solution. To this add fixed end solution. Fixed end in the sense, element 1, whatever solution for a finite element you get, this one, this quantity, plus you add, assuming the ends of this element 1, assuming the ends at the 2 nodes of this element are fixed, subjected to same amount of load. Subjected to same amount of load, if the 2 ends of this element are fixed, what's going to be the solution? That you can get from your structural analysis background. That solution you add to it, then even with one element you are going to get exact solution. Even with one element you are going to get exact solution. So that is a kind of a trick that is being adopted for distributed load problems when we are adapting this 2 node element to get exact solution. Okay, so that is what is called fixed end correction, fixed end solution correction. You just add fixed end solution to whatever you get here, then the solution is going to match with exact. And how did this kind of approach, or how did this kind of technique was conceived? Please note that you keep trying. Research means you keep trying, and whichever is working, as long as that is working fine without violating any of the mathematics and physics of the problem, that should be fine. So that is how this technique is working. So people adopt this technique. So you need to add fixed end solution to this, whatever relation you got, bending moment as a function of x. To this you add fixed end solution. What I meant by fixed end solution is assuming the ends of the element, whichever element you are looking at, assume the ends of that elements are fixed, and taking the same load, whatever load is there on that element. For that load, if it is treated as fixed end, both ends are fixed, what is going to be the solution for that problem? You get that solution and use sign conventions for internal moments and shear. Sign conventions for internal moments and shear. You keep this point in mind, okay? And write appropriately and then add to this. Then that is going to give you exact solution. Even with one element. Here it is illustrated with two elements. You don't even need to adopt two elements. Even with one element, you are going to get exact solution. Okay? So anyway, unless you see a problem, it may not be clear to you. So that is what we are going to adopt. The correction is fixed end solution correction. Whatever bending moment and shear force that you get, to that you add fixed end solution correction, then that is going to give you a solution which matches with exact value accurately. Okay, any questions here? And please note here, when we adopted two elements for this problem, whatever nodal values we got, whatever nodal solution we got, there is no issue with this. Nodal values are going to be fine. Nodal values, the values which you get by solving this equation system, the nodal values, they are going to match with exact values. But when you try to interpolate, then the problem arises. Using those nodal values. So you need to apply fixed end solution correction for bending moment shear force as well as displacements and rotations. If you are even looking at those here, they are not shown here. Is it clear? So when I mention here, the nodal values are going to be exact. So one way is you put more number of nodes. And thereby more number of elements, and then solve. Then you get accurate solution at many number of points along the length of the beam. But that is not the smart way of doing. Okay? I don't want to increase the size of the problem. I don't want to spend too much time in calculating all this. I want right away the solution. And the question is, why, if it is working for concentrated loads and moments, why I have to spend more effort if it is distributed load? So that is the question. So for that, remedy is you add fixed end solution correction. Okay? So anyway, I gave enough explanation on this. Unless you see a problem, you will not be able to understand. So let's take this problem. Same problem, simply supported beam of span L, subjected to uniformly distributed load. Okay, having constant flexural rigidity. Here I am taking only one element. Now I told you the technique. Now I told you to take the trick that you need to play, and I told you also this even to play this trick, you don't even need to have two elements. Even with one element, you can play this trick and get exact solution. That's what I claimed. So to illustrate that, it is shown here. This entire beam is discretized using one element. Degrees of freedom are shown here: V1, theta 1, V2, theta 2. Length of this element is L. Element equations, whatever you develop, just simply copy that. And what are the boundary conditions here? V1 is 0, V2 is 0. V1 is 0, V2 is 0. So apply that boundary condition. Wherever 0 boundary conditions are there, reactions are going to be there. And if you want to solve this equation system, after applying the essential boundary conditions, you remove the row and column corresponding to the quantity which is 0. Here first quantity is 0, so remove first row, first column. Third row, third column, and you get reduced equation system. Solve for theta 1, theta 2. Theta 1 turns out to be this, theta 2 turns out to be this. Please take a note of it. Just please, I'm telling you repeatedly, unless you take a note of it, you will not understand properly. Okay? And now you see theta 1, theta 2. And V1, V2 are 0. Small v1, small v2 are 0. Transverse displacements at the supports are 0. And theta 1, theta 2 just now we calculate. And see how these solutions, v1, v2, theta 1, theta 2 matches with exact solution. They're same. They're same as exact solution. Okay, there is no doubt on that. Please take a note of it. I'm going very slow, understand? Because this is important concept, I'm going very slow, and you please take advantage of it and follow the suggestions, which I'm saying that you please take a note of it, you take it. So once you got these nodal values, next step is you need to do interpolation. When you do interpolation using finite element shape functions, derivatives of finite element shape functions, you should be able to get displacement at any point along the length of the beam, rotation at any point along the length of the beam, any moment, shear force. And here we are adopting only one element. Obviously, if you don't apply the correction, you are not going to get correct values, correct solution. So what is the correction that I told you? Whatever interpolation you do, to that you add fixed end solution. So for that, to obtain that correction, you need to go back to your structural analysis or mechanics of materials and try to find. Here this beam is simply supported. Okay, this entire beam we discretize using one element. So fixed end solution is nothing but assuming the ends to be fixed with the same load applied. What are going to be the values of moments and forces at the supports, at the two nodes? At this node, what is going to be the moment? Shear force. What is going to be the moment, shear force? Also, along the length of the beam, what is going to be the fixed end solution? What is bending moment? At any point along the length of the beam, fixed end solution, shear force, displacement, like that. Okay, so you need to go back to your mechanics of materials or strength of or structural analysis. So for this problem, if you want fixed end solution, let's see what is the fixed end solution for this problem. Here, a beam of length L subjected to uniformly distributed load. Here the load is acting in the downward direction, whereas our problem load is acting in the upward direction. So the relation is W is equal to W, wherever W is there, replace with minus Q. Okay. And here shear force at any location along the length of the beam is given. Please take a note of this fixed end solution. Shear force at any point along the length of the beam is given in terms of X. I want you to take a note of it, because in our case, it's not going to be in terms of X, it's going to be in terms of S. So that's why, to understand better, you take a note of this. Shear force at any point along the length of the beam in terms of X measured from the left support is given by this. Bending moment is given by this. Bending moment at any point along the length of the beam is given by this relation, and displacement is given by this relation. Displacement is given by this relation. Okay. Hope you are taken. Okay. Take a note of this shear force at any point along length of the beam, bending moment at any point along length of beam, displacement at any point along length of the beam, transverse displacement. Hope you have taken this. Okay. So now, if you have taken that, in our case, we are doing interpolation in S coordinate system. S goes from 0 to 1. For a particular element, S goes from 0 to 1. S is equal to 0 at left hand, S is equal to 1 at right hand. S is equal to 0 at left hand, S is equal to 0 at S is equal to 1 at right hand. If you want to express this in terms of S, the relation between X and S, relation between X and S is going to be, what is that relation? Please take a note of it. S is equal to X divided by L, length of the beam. S is equal to X divided by L. So now, if that is the relation, you please check. X is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 corresponds to S is equal to 0. X is equal to L corresponds to S is equal to 1. Okay. This is clear. So now you have these relations: shear force at any point in terms of X, bending moment at any point in terms of X, displacement at any point along the length of the beam in terms of X. So now we got a relation between S and X. S is equal to X divided by L, or X is equal to S times L. Okay. So these relations, bending moment or shear force, bending moment, displacement, whatever these expressions that are given here, if you want to write in terms of S, wherever X is there, replace that with S times L. Okay. Please do that. Wherever X is there, replace with S times L. You get relation in terms of S. Okay. So you need to do all this. Because in structural analysis books, they may be using the origin, the coordinate system origin differently. So we need to convert everything into whatever our particular coordinate system. Okay. I hope that is clear. How to get this V, shear force at any point, bending moment at any point, displacement at any point along the length of the beam in terms of S. Or same thing you can repeat if you have rotation at any point along the length of the beam. Okay. I hope this is clear. If that is clear, That is what you require. That is what you require here. That is what you require for correction. So you got the, now coming back to this problem, you got the nodal values, simply supported beam, subjected to uniformly distributed load acting in the upward direction. You got the nodal values. V1, V2 are 0, theta 1, theta 2 are given by this. So now you can do interpolation. Displacement at any point along the length of the beam is given by this. Shape functions multiplied by the nodal values. And if you do this alone, there is going to be error. For that, you need to add fixed end solution correction. So that fixed end solution correction is given by this. How did I get this? Just now I asked you to make a note of that. You go to structural analysis book, you make that conversions and express in terms of S, and then make a note of all those relations. That correction you need to apply here. Okay? Same thing you do for bending moment. Same thing you do for shear force. And now when you do this correction, after doing this correction, simplifying, you get displacement at any point along the length of the beam in terms of S, bending moment at any point along the length of the beam in terms of S, shear force at any point along length of the beam in terms of S. So now you substitute S is equal to 0 and S is equal to 1 and S is equal to half. Okay? And check whether the solution is going to match with exact or not. So that is what is done here. Forget about displacement. Okay? Check is made with respect to bending moment. So I got bending moment after applying fixed end correction. I got bending moment relation. So now S is equal to, here please note that only one element is used for discretization. S is equal to 0 here, S is equal to 1 here. If I want mid span, it is going to be S is equal to half. Substituting S is equal to half, I want to check what is the bending moment I'm going to get. Bending moment, this is what I'm getting, which is exact value. Shear force, I'm interested in shear force not at the mid span but at the support. So S is equal to 0. This is also you got exact. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Fixed end solution correction you need to apply. Okay, to think about it, I think enough information is given. You need to do a lot of homework. Please note that it's not always we are going to get nice uniformly distributed load kind of loading condition. If you have arbitrary loading condition, in that case you need to go back to your structural analysis and try to find fixed end solutions for those kind of things. Okay, any questions here? I'm going to wait for a minute. Any questions?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, while adding this fixed end solution correction, we need to take that sign convention for internal movement and shear forces, right?
Huh?
While adding that fixed end movement correction.
Because this whatever shear force expression, bending moment, whatever you are doing this interpolation, that is actually internal shear and internal moment.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
This is internal shear, internal moment. This is not applied shear, applied moment.
Okay.
Anyway, think about it. Okay, we can discuss further. Think about it. Anyway, that's a good question, good observation. I'm expecting that kind of thing. No questions? So then what we'll do is we'll take same continuous 3-span continuous beam, which we have solved earlier with a concentrated load at the middle of mid span. Now in the middle of the mid span, let's have a uniformly distributed load. Same 3-span continuous beam. All spans of equal length. Only difference is in the mid span, instead of having concentrated load, we have distributed load. Now we know how to deal with the distributed load problem. We need to apply fixed end solution correction. That's the only trick we need to apply. Okay. And again, I don't want to repeat all the asymmetry issues and other things. This problem, straight right, looking at the way it is, like the way the load is applied and where the spans are located. It's a symmetric problem. Okay. And symmetric point is going to be mid. Symmetric point is going to be middle of mid span. And the boundary conditions at the symmetric point are going to be same as what we discussed for point load. So same discretization is used, 2 elements. Element 1, no load is there, of length 400 mm. Element 2, 200 mm. Assemble the element equations. And please note that here now load is applied in the downward direction. Please always pay attention to that, whether load is applied in the upward direction or downward direction. And whatever element equations that we developed, their Q is acting in the upward direction. So we need to append a negative sign to that, because now the load is acting in the downward direction. Keep that in mind. 2 elements are taken. Degrees of freedom are shown here. Element 1, element 2. Assemble the element equations. And please note that one more thing. Here, when I say assemble the element equations, what you need to do? Just 1 second, let me go back to that equation system. So when I say assemble the element equation, what you need to do? You need to substitute what is L value here, EI value for each of the element. Okay. But we already did that exercise for concentrated load problem. So stiffness matrix is going to be same. Only load vector is going to be different. Load vector for first element is going to be 0. Load vector for the second element, wherever Q is there, replace with minus Q, because load is acting in the downward direction here. And then assemble the force vector. Already stiffness is there. Stiffness matrix is already there. And also, if you see this problem, even the boundary conditions are same. V1 is 0, V2 is 0, theta 3 is 0. Same thing even for this problem. Same thing, same boundary conditions are applicable even for this problem. V1 is 0, V2 is 0, theta 3 is 0. So everything is same except the load vector for the second element. So that alone is assembled here. For first element, load vector is 0. Second element, load vector is this. Wherever Q is there, you put a negative sign and then you get this one. And global load vector. This is global load vector. Wherever nodal degrees of freedom are 0, corresponding locations, reactions are going to be there. So V1 is 0, so R1 is there, V2 is 0, R2 is there, theta 3 is 0, M3 is there. So we got the global load vector. And if you want reduced equation system, here there are 6 degrees of freedom. So global equation system is going to be 6 by 6. But directly you can write the reduced equation system, eliminating first row, first row, first column, third row, third column, sixth row, sixth column. Anyway, this is the global equation system. Eliminate first row and column, third row and column, sixth row and column, you get reduced equation system. You solve for the unknowns theta 1, theta 2, V3, and then do the interpolation. Go to each element, do the interpolation. This is nothing but interpolating using derivative of finite element shape functions and nodal values. And there is no fixed length correction here. Why there is no fixed length correction? Because there is no load on the first element. There is no load on the first element, fixed length correction. Even if you apply fixed length correction, it's going to be 0. Because Q is 0, load is 0. So there is no fixed length correction for first element. If you want for completeness, you can write fixed length correction and substitute load is equal to 0. So this is bending moment variation, shear force variation for element 1. Element 2. For element 2, you have distributed load, so you need to apply fixed length correction. Okay, so once you got the solution in each of the element, by changing S from 0 to 1, you can actually sweep. You can sweep the entire over the entire element length. What is going to be the solution? And plot the bending moment shear force diagrams. Okay. Any questions here? Please think about this fixed length solution correction. This is the smart way of handling distributed load problems. Okay. In tomorrow's class, we are going to see, now we know for a given problem, given loading, with whatever we learned, irrespective of whatever type of loading we have, we should be able to solve exact. We should be able to solve for exact value of bending moment and shear force, displacements and rotations. Once we have this, please note that bending moment, shear force are called stress resultants. When we are designing the beam, we are more interested in stresses. So next topic is calculation of shear and normal stresses. Okay, that we'll see in tomorrow's class. Any questions here? I'm going to stop here. So you should go back and see your structural analysis. Okay, please, you cannot ignore your foundations. If foundation is weak, then there is a problem. You need to straighten your structural analysis background, because that is required all the time. So let me take attendance.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, if we have a point load, there will be. I'll take a node there. So there, on the either side of the node, there will be two elements. So in that, we don't need to apply fixed end corrections. Correct, sir? Like
I'm telling you, for concentrated loads and moments, no correction is required. Suppose you have a combination of point loads as well as distributed load, whatever correction you are applying is only applicable for distributed load.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Now you can do one thing. You please note that assignments, and then these whatever quizzes, all these things, sometimes they may not cover all the aspects. Okay. So now to answer your question, you do one thing. Now in the whatever PowerPoint, a point load is taken and the problem is solved. Distributed load is taken separately. Problem is solved. And now you see, you combine both. You take the same 3-span continuous beam. I have a distributed load along with a point load at the mid span. Now, how my solution is going to match? What correction I need to apply? So with whatever you learn, you see whether that is going to work or not. You can cross check yourself. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? If there are no questions, please take this seriously, and we'll discuss further in tomorrow's class. Thank you.